how to make your first $1 million by using SAM.gov to actually bid on contracts not only at the federal level but also at the state level. So this is actually the conversation I want to have with you in today's video. So it's important to understand that if you want to increase your chance of winning a government contract, you have to be able to research the federal marketplace and take advantage of SBA resources. You can research the federal marketplace, but you can also research the state's marketplace. The thing is that depending on how big your state is, you are going to have a pretty vibrant marketplace. For instance, if you are in a big state such as California or New York or Texas or Illinois, for instance, you have pretty vibrant contract marketplaces. Now, if you are in a smaller state such as Delaware, for instance, or Rhode Island, you don't have a vibrant marketplace, but you can still make money. You can still actually generate revenue by bidding on the right contract. First, let's talk about finding contracts. The cool thing is that there are actually several databases to use to find federal contracts to bid on or state contracts to bid on. Similarly, there are multiple databases that government agencies use actually to find contractors. Depending on the industry you're in, you are able to be lucky real fast. First, I want to talk to you about the DSBS. So the DSBS is actually a platform built by the SBA, the Small Business Administration. So DSBS means Dynamic Small Business Search. So this is actually a database that's pretty vibrant, that really is continuously updated, and it's actually broken down by, let's say, by states. So you can really get federal contracts, but also state contracts. Okay, so think about the DSBS as a database that government agencies use to find small business contractors for upcoming contracts. And the cool thing is that they are not looking for geography. They're looking more for the suitability versus suitability depending on the needs of the specific contracts. And small businesses such as yours can also use DSBS to find other small businesses to work with. And the SBA maintains the DSBS database. So the information you provide when you register your business in the same link. So the system for award management is actually used to update DSBS. So the cool thing is you want to create actually a comprehensive business profile on the DSBS platform. If you want to use SAM.gov to make your first $1 million, you got after actually finding contracts, after going to platforms such as the DSBS, you also need to pay attention to SAM.gov itself in terms of contract opportunities. Okay, so federal business opportunities for contractors are actually listed on SAM.gov. That's the foundation I want you to really start. I want you to start from. Okay. The cool thing about SAM.gov is that everything is centralized, everything is updated, and everything is actually monitored pretty closely, not only from government agencies, but also from contractors across the states, across the country. So government agencies at the federal level, but also at the state level, they are required actually to use SAM.gov to advertise all contracts over $25,000. So if you want to really go for bigger contracts, you want to use SAM.gov. Okay. Now, if you have a federal contract or a state contract that is less than 25,000, then you have to really reach out to that specific agency, that specific government agency. But anytime you have a procurement process that goes above $25,000, the Congress has actually instituted that the agency publish that contract on SAM.gov. So SAM.gov is not just a platform where you actually register to actually be in the database. It's actually a good platform that allows you to know what's happening, what the contract opportunities are, okay? And also the most important thing is that you not only you have the contract opportunities, but also the geographies where you could be helpful, where your business could be helpful. See, the thing is that some federal government agencies actually, when they have contracts, it's not just about a one state, one individual state. They probably have contracts that cover multiple states. So you have an opportunity to actually make your $1 million real fast, because you can actually operate. You can operate in multiple states. That's the word I was looking for. You can actually operate in multiple states, in multiple geographies. Sometimes you might need to hire a subcontractor locally to make sure you can actually meet the requirements of the contracts. So if you want to use the SAM.gov to make your first $1 million, you can also pay attention to GSA schedules. Now, GSA schedules are pretty important, especially if you are in a niche market. There are some markets that are pretty competitive. There are some markets where when bids are really needed continually throughout the year, and it's one of those things where you have to really understand what the government agency is looking for, so you can provide the right solution. Okay. Now, GSA schedule are pretty good because they are comprehensive by nature, and they are also thorough. Okay. So GSA, by the way, stands for General Services Administration. Okay. So if you want to sell to the government, securing a contract with the U.S. GSA, the government agency that connects government buyers with contractors, is actually a great way to start. Not only a great way to start at the federal level, but also at the state level. Because once you actually can establish that relationship at the federal level, once you're able to actually talk to several key decision makers, let's say in Washington, D.C., you are able to actually reach out to the same legislators on state capitals. That's what you want. You want to really have that opportunity to speak to someone, to speak to a decision maker who can really further your proposal real fast. Okay. So securing a contract with the GSA is also called getting onto the GSA schedule, which means you've been approved to do business with the government. I want to insist on that because once you are approved to do business with the government, we're speaking here about the federal government, but you're also speaking about you getting the blessing from state governments, so state, local, and also the county level. So that's really good. So you also have subcontracting opportunities. So I want to introduce you to a database called Subnet. So Subnet is a database of subcontracting opportunities posted by large contractors looking for small businesses to serve as subcontractors. So that's really good. And SBA maintains a directory of federal government prime contractors with subcontracting plans. That's pretty good. And I'm showing you on the screen here, you can see uh, what I want you to see is that I want you to see the directory, okay, that the GSA maintains. So the GSA publishes a subcontracting directory for small businesses. They're all looking for subcontracting opportunities with prime contractors. So the directory lists large business prime contractors. They are required to establish plans and goals for subcontracting with small businesses. So you have an opportunity to eat too, right? You have an opportunity to make $1 million if you are able to subcontract with the right prime contractors. Because see, those prime contractors, they get billions of dollars from the federal government or the state government. So they are required by law to actually share a little bit of the pie. So you could probably get your cash too that way. So let's quickly talk about marketing to the government. So if you're trying to use a SAM.gov to make your first $1 million, it's important to understand how to market to the federal government, how to market to the state government, how to market to the county government in general, okay? You may want to market your small business directly to a government agency or a prime contractor. Let's say you have identified a niche, you have identified an opportunity, you have a service, you have a proposal, and you think you can just go directly to the agency. You can do that too. You can definitely do that. I mean, if you have the right connections, if you have the right opportunity, if you have the right product, if you have the right solution, you can do the DIY way as well. Okay. Now you can do that by learning what agencies or prime contractors need and then showing them how your business can fulfill that need. In other words, you identify the pain points, you have researched the problem, you have researched the solution, you have a working solution. So you are able to serve that to actually meet that specific pain point. And if you're trying to really use the SAM.gov to make your first $1 million, you also have the federal procurement data system. This is another database that I want to introduce to you that'll be very helpful. Basically, what happens here is that the FPDS is pretty good. I mean, don't mind the fact that the user experience is not really that big on the FPDS. The UX and UI are not really that big, but hey, listen, the tool really works big time. Okay, so basically, this is a repository of all federal contracting, let's say, data for contracts over $25,000. So with the FPDS, you can see which agencies have contracts and with whom they have contracts, what agencies buy, and which contractors have contracts. So you have an opportunity again to actually get in the game with the right solution and start making money ASAP, start making money right away. You also have a SAM.gov. This is a government agency. This is a government platform. This is actually a pretty comprehensive platform too, especially if you are going after specific niches such as healthcare, such as hospitality, such as shipping, such as logistics, such as military logistics, by the way. So SAM.gov, okay? And the cool thing about this platform is that it really tracks government spending through contracts awarded. So this searchable database contains information for each federal contract, and you can use this information to help identify procurement trends within the government and potential opportunities. And with that, you are able to know whether or not you have to position your business like in a certain way to actually continue generating revenue. Okay, especially if you have a strategy where your business actually wants to operate in several states, wants to serve several states government agencies, then you are going to love SASpending.gov, because the data I'm sharing with you, the data they're sharing with you, is actually across states. Okay, and the cool thing is that you're not just speaking about contracts. So if you look at SASpending.gov, you actually have information about contracts, but you also have information about grants, but also loans. So that's pretty good because basically USA Spending gives you the background info about federal awards, and federal awards are constantly on the rise. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Okay, so USAspending.gov does a great job at summarizing all that info for you in a nice format. You also have a small business offices. So if you are trying to use a SAM.gov to make your first $1 million, you can also think about the small business offices. Let me break it down what I mean by that. The thing is that within the federal government, you have a federal government. You have a lot of agencies. Some agencies are not really known that much, but they actually control billions of dollars in resources, okay, in contract resources. So many federal agencies have what's called an Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization, so OSDBU, or an Office of Small Business Program, okay, OSBP. Now, these offices, they're not really known at the federal level. They're not known to the public. But hey, listen, if you are an insider, you will know them right away. So these offices work to identify opportunities to contract with small businesses. Again, we're talking here about minimum $25,000. So each agency releases a procurement forecast that includes contracting opportunities for small and disadvantaged businesses. So the cool thing is you're able to get into the program real fast. Once you have reviewed an agency forecast and used the systems like the FBDS, so the Federal Procurement Data System, or USAspending.gov, you can use those to identify opportunities at a specific agency, right? So once you actually have identified you've done the research, you can contact that agency's small business office. Also, every office actually hosts training and networking events to help small businesses identify contract opportunities. So the cool thing is that if you are able to insert yourself into the whole tapestry and the whole networking process, you're able to see, at least hear about those opportunities. Okay. The cool thing is, remember, it's always, if you have a contract over $25,000, you as a small business can also be part of the cake eating, if you will. In other words, you can actually take part of the whole conversation and win something, at least making sure that you are possibly getting close to earning your first $1 million contracting for the federal government or for the state government across the country. So that's really fantastic. Just remember that it's all about contract opportunities where you can search, where you can find, you can bid on those contracts that require prime contractors to subcontract any contract that's over 25,000 to small businesses across this country. If you're trying to really use the SAM.gov to make your first $1 million, sometimes you might have to really handle protests. In other words, something didn't go the way you think it should go, or your rights have been violated. Your rights as a small business owner have been violated. So Congress has put in place a set of regulations, if you will, to make sure that every small business owner is actually treated fairly. Okay. So when the government awards a contract, someone may allege that a winning business misrepresented itself, causing the contract to be awarded unfairly. And this happens all the time. I mean, nobody's perfect. You just will need to have the right safeguards to make sure the systems is actually operating fairly, to make sure you have a level playing field. So now let me talk to you about the size and status protest. So a losing bidder, contracting officer, SBA, or another interested party or government official can file a protest questioning a winning business's size or socioeconomic status. The cool thing is, in the event of a protest, SBA will determine the size or status of the winning small business. If SBA determines that the business did not qualify for the set aside, the business is no longer eligible for that contract. So, and the process is really fast. Okay, it's fair and fast. So any of the interested parties can appeal SBA's size determination to SBA's Office of Hearing and Appeals, which issues actually a final decision. Okay. You also have something called Certificate of Competency, and something you need to know about. So if a federal contracting officer rejects a low bid from a small business because of questions about the business ability to fulfill the contract, the case is actually referred to SBA, and SBA will then offer the small business a chance to apply for a Certificate of Competency, COC. And if the small business apply for a COC, SBA will review the business's ability to fulfill the contract. So the cool thing is that you still have a chance. And if the business demonstrates the ability to fulfill the contract, SBA will issue a COC to the contracting officer, requiring the award of that contract to the small business. And also a COC, remember that a COC is valid only for the specific contract for which it is issued. A small business that's capable of handling one contract may not be qualified to handle another. You also have something called the bundling and consolidation. So if you think a federal agency has engaged in bundling or consolidation practices that keep a small business from competing for a contract, you want to contact your local procurement center representative, your PCR rather, and that's really, they can really act really fast. So in conclusion, to this conversation, I spoke to you about how to use SAM.gov to make your first $1 million. I spoke to you about ways to find contracts. So DSPS, contract opportunities, GSA schedules, subcontracting opportunities, and how to also market to the federal government or also the state government. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll speak to you another time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.